Today we're going to be learning some idioms and language that we can use when we're talking about and sharing our experiences in English conversation. So before we take a look at the different really useful idioms we'll be learning, it's very useful that we take a quick chance to review through exactly what idiomatic language is. So idiomatic language is used a lot by native speakers in any language. They have very different meanings from the words used, so it can be difficult to understand exactly what an idiom means unless you've experienced it or you've been told what the idiom means. At times you might be able to work out the true meaning. So here is a quick example again. It happened out of the blue. Now, the text is in blue, but it's nothing to do with that. This actually means that something happened which was a great surprise. Now, you wouldn't really be able to understand that unless somebody told you what this idiom means. So it takes me on to my next point, which I've spoken about previously. Be careful not to use idioms incorrectly in your speech, as of course this will make you sound not so great with your English speaking skills. And also lots of teachers will be exploring different idioms that quite frankly would sound strange to a native speaker, and also they would be idioms that a native speaker just wouldn't really use very often. Of course, from a British speaking point of view, I try and give you as many different quick tips as possible to boost your speaking skills. So the idioms I'm going to share with you are definitely useful. They're native sounding, especially to a British English speaker. So let's take a look at the idioms that we'll be learning today. Up first we have in the heat of the moment and finding your feet. Had or have a crack at it, a very British expression. Rub salt in the wound. Every cloud has a silver lining. The last one is definitely quite a famous idiom. So all 5 of these idioms are really useful for talking about experiences. So let's move to a live video and I'll take you through a few examples now. Okay, so it's example time with me and we're going to run through the idioms with some sort of descriptions of their general meanings, and I'll also give you some ideas about ways in which they're used. So we're going to start off with the idiom for past experiences, in the heat of the moment. Now, this is quite a commonly used idiom which is talking about a past experience where you had to make a decision. And the decision had to be made in quite a difficult, stressful situation. So during this stressful situation, you needed to make an important decision. So an example could be, I was in a test and I couldn't choose between 2 answers, but in the heat of the moment, I chose this answer. I hope it's correct. Or it was a super busy day at the office, and in the heat of the moment, I had to make decisions. It was quite stressful. I hope it works. It's not hot at the time. It just means that there's a lot of pressure. Okay, so that's an idiom for making decisions in more difficult situations. Our next idiom is finding your feet, finding my feet, finding his, finding her feet, whoever's feet they are, but luckily we aren't actually going to go and look for their feet, which is good news, I'm sure you'll think. It basically is an idiom to mean that somebody is becoming more confident, probably in more of an uncomfortable situation. So for example, people who've just started a work, you could say, they're just finding their feet, they're beginning to get more confident and a bit more used to the situation they're in. I just moved to a new country I'm just finding my feet now and starting to feel like I'm enjoying myself a bit more. A very commonly used expression that you can use as well for these new situations that are a little bit unfamiliar at first, but it shows a development in confidence. Okay, this next expression, idiomatic expression, is very British indeed, and it is have or had a crack at it. I had a crack at it. It's definitely more of a British expression. I don't think it's used so often by Americans, but it basically means to really give something a good go. So if you say, oh, he had a great crack at it, it means that they really tried and put a lot of effort into it. And it can often be in a situation or an experience that you haven't really got much experience in. I'm not so familiar with French language, but I'll have a crack at it anyway. I'll give it a really good go and I'll try my very best. Okay, so have had a crack at it. Let's move on. Okay, this next expression is rub salt in the wound. And it basically means a situation that was already bad is made worse, is even worse than it was when it first happened. And that can be because of somebody's actions or just generally how the situation unfolds. So, for example, I felt really sick and my friend wasn't very sympathetic. She was really rubbing salt in the wound, not helping, making the situation worse. Okay, our final idiomatic expression for experience is every cloud has a silver lining. And this is definitely quite a famous idiom. And it basically means even negative experiences can have positive aspects too. Every cloud, every rain cloud possibly has a silver lining. So for example, if I said, I lost my job, but found a new job that was just as well paid, every cloud has a silver lining. So the bad situation was I lost my job, but I did find a new job. So this is when you can use this idiom to talk about a past experience that really wasn't great, but there was some positives to take from it too. Okay, so that really is those 5 idioms, idiomatic expressions for talking about experiences. And yeah, give it a go. Have a go in the Q&A section. Try and show me some different ways of using these idiomatic expressions. They're very native sounding, and it means that you'll be able to use them naturally in conversation, especially with native speakers too.